Good morning, YouTube, and welcome to my shop. It's a little update on the projects going forward. I posted the two videos, or the one video, whatever it was, on the Emerson 149 that I'm going to do for my daughter. I have ordered the parts from DigiKey. They're en route. They're not here yet. I looked at the tracking. I'm able to get the proper belt for it. Now, I don't think I mentioned this on the previous video. I think I said something to the effect that the dial string was broken. There is no dial string. This radio took a belt, and that has just arrived. And I've shown these belts before. This company also makes belts for all different radios, and I still have a Zenith that's not done yet that I have put away. That I bought a belt for, but I wanted to draw attention to this company because if you need a belt for many different types of radios, they have a list of radios they make belts for. It's called Adams Manufacturing Company. If you do a Google search on that, you'll find them quite easily. And they carry these really hard to find belts. So and they don't charge much for them either. This thing was like $6 with shipping, which was an envelope. And there it is. It's basically like a large O-ring, and I was thinking, and when I first discovered it, took a belt, I was like, well, I have to find an O-ring that might work. But this is the actual reproduced belt that was in that originally. So, able to get that. So I was happy about that, because the belt is gone out of this radio, probably long ago disintegrated. A couple other little updates. I mentioned in the last video also that I was in the market for a new tube tester. We did some tube testing on the one video. On the two that I have, neither one of them are mutual conductance. They are both the basic filament emission type testers. Well, this is not a tube tester. As you can see, this is a roll chart for a tube tester. And we're going to take a quick look. If I can get it in view. This is a tube tester roll chart for a TV3AU, which is a Navy tube tester. And it was made by none other than Hickok, the top maker of U.S. tube testers, I believe, for most mutual conductance tube testers. This roll chart is from 1951, and it's in beautiful condition. It works very well. And the reason I bought this, of course, is I also won an auction for a TV3AU tube tester that was missing its roll chart. And serendipitously, or by fate, or by the grace of God, I believe, I searched for this tube tester model online and found roll chart. Somebody was selling. They did not have it marked as a TV3AU, and a number of these were made. There were different models. There was a TV3A, there was a B, there was a C that I know of, and there may have been others. There's at least those three that I know of. And when this was advertised, it simply said TV3 roll chart. Well, I knew the roll chart was completely missing on the one that I won the auction for, so I took a chance and bought it anyway, not knowing which model it was for, figuring that the models are similar. They just upgraded them at different times. And was very happy to discover it was indeed the exact model I needed. And what I did too is, you couldn't see it on auction pictures, but that model number, it wasn't in view, but you could see they had pictures of the bottom of the chart, and you can see all the settings. Well, BAMA, the Boat Anchor Archive, Manual Archive, BAMA, B-A-M-A, Boat Anchor Annual Archive, had the actual manual for the tester. I was not going to bid on the tester unless I could get the tube data, and I don't think a lot of people bid on it because there was no roll chart. And it has the tube data in the manual. So I compared that to the pictures online. It matched perfectly to this. So I took a chance and bought it, and extremely happy to find it is the exact one that I needed. I don't think it's the one out of that exact model tube tester, although you never know. The tube tester is coming from Reno, Nevada. This came from Wisconsin. Totally different states, but this is the manual for the tube tester. The tube tester is supposed to arrive in a couple days. I will do an unboxing on it. It's in a little rough shape. It looks complete to me except the roll chart. There's no pictures of the inside of it. So that'll be a surprise to see what it's like inside. The case is a bit rough on it. I'm going to totally strip it and repaint it with the navy gray color. Try to restore it exactly. That is the basic case pictures. There's a picture of the top of it in here. There it is. That is the tube tester. And it looks like a Hickok, if you know what a Hickok looks like. And it is a Hickok. They were made for the Navy by Hickok. And it does all different tubes. It even does acorn tubes, and it does sub-miniature tubes. It does tons of tubes. Tubes that I probably will never use, but most importantly, it does all the main ones. That's a 4-pin, which is the oldest type tubes, and it goes up to all the loctals and the octals and everything in between. So that's going to be a restoration project. I want to completely strip this thing, clean it, calibrate it, get it working, and then I think I'm going to probably sell my other tube testers, because that's more like a Cadillac right there compared to a Volkswagen Beetle. And then I also obtained a bunch of tube sockets, which you can see on the bench here. These are actual socket savers. You put these in your tube tester so that when you're testing a lot of tubes and putting them in and out, you don't wear out the sockets that are on the tube tester itself. And these are actually made by Hickok. And I got the 9 pins, I got the 7 pins. I got a good deal on these. That was an eBay win. And I actually have a couple sets of the same, which I may just put them in my other testers, or I may just save them as spares. And then I also have these, which are wonderful. These are, if you're not familiar with these are for testing your circuit. You put that in the radio, pop the tube in it, and you can test the pins on top of the radio with your multimeter. You don't have to check voltages and whatnot with the tube in the radio. You don't have to flip it upside down to test the radio. So all different ones. So I haven't ordered the tubes yet. I do have to order 3 tubes. I want to put brand new old stock tubes in this one. I do have a line on all of them. I'm going to put that order in soon. The capacitors are en route from DigiKey, and we'll get to work on it. I am going to do some derusting and cleaning on this set. I don't think I'm going to make videos of that. It's kind of, I mean, I don't see the point. The top of this thing, as I've shown previously, has a lot of rust and corrosion. I'm going to take everything off it. Not everything, most everything. I'm going to leave the transformer. Tape everything up. I probably will pull the tuning capacitor because I want to clean it. Derust it. Coat it with either clear coat or some type of enamel silver spray paint, possibly an epoxy paint, one of the good Rust-Oleum ones. They have a lot of great new colors and types of paint now. They have metal etching paint and aluminum paint. They have tons of different ones. So I'll find something that's appropriate to do, and that I might do a little update video on that, but I'm not going to make a boring video of derusting. And that's about it. When the tube tester comes in, I'll do a video on that. When the parts come in and I'm ready to start recapping, we'll do a video on that. And then at the end of all this, we're going to do an alignment video. Now, the one thing I will mention, there's only 5 paper tubes in this, capacitors rather, 5 paper capacitors. So I'm going to shotgun it. And also the 2 electrolytics, which were not original, have already been replaced. I have all new replacements. I'm going to change them all at once before I even power it up, which is shotgunning. When I first became a radio enthusiast to do these little restorations for hobbies, I came across Phil's Old Radios website, I think it is. I'll put the link in the bottom. And that was one of my first websites I found, and he talks a lot about the fact that you should absolutely change all the old paper caps. And since I've been doing this a few years now, I have learned over time that shotgunning, though, is not always the best way to go. Sometimes you're better off to do them one at a time and power up the radio in between. and make sure you don't have a mistake in the wiring. Because if you have a radio with a lot of caps in it and you change them all out and then power it up and it doesn't work, then you got to try to figure out if you wired something wrong. Where if you've done them one at a time, you can kind of say, okay, it worked before I changed this component, and now I put this one in and it's not working, and you can usually find what your problem is. So shotgunning isn't always recommended, but this radio only has 5 caps in it, so I'm going to do it. My SP600 had 52 capacitors in it. I did not shotgun that. I did power it up in between, not after every capacitor, but I did do some powering up. So that's the plan. I'll be back with another update when my parts come in and when the tube tester comes in. Thanks for watching. This is Tom.